Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. We're coming to you this Wednesday on the 19th day of November, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Ping Lacson has confirmed the 100 billion peso insertion in the 2025 national budget. However, Lacson disputed Zaldico's claim that President Bongbong Marcos ordered the said insertion during the bicameral conference committee. The Ombudsman filed the first batch of cases before the Sandigan Bayan against Zaldico and several DPWH officials for an allegedly bogus flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. The charges include malversation, falsification, and violations of the anti-graft law. And despite calls for resignation from several groups, including pro-Duterte supporters, Malacanang declares that President Bongbong Marcos will not step down. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, new revelations rock the 2025 national budget. Senator Ping Lacson confirms that 100 billion pesos was indeed inserted, but denies the president had anything to do with it. More in this report.
Former Congressman Zaldico's claim that 100 billion pesos was slipped into the 2025 national budget is true. That confirmation came from Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Ping Lacson. But Lacson rejected Co's allegation that President Bongbong Marcos ordered the insertion during the bicameral conference committee.
Yung gusto kasi ng iba, paniwalaan natin na sa Pangulo ang nag-insert, nag-utos mag-insert. But it doesn't make sense to me. Common sense. Siya nag-utos, ibibito niya.
Lacson added it is possible that someone used the president's name to make it appear the instructions came from him.
May mga tao sa Malacanang, not authorized by the president, who misrepresented him.
So how does Lacson know the president had nothing to do with alleged kickbacks in DPWH projects? Former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, who has repeatedly testified before Blue Ribbon hearings on flood control anomalies, reportedly detailed the kickback flow and who actually received the money. It did not go to the president, but to former DepEd Undersecretary Traiguib Olivar, whom Bernardo identified as the point person, who convened meetings on unprogrammed appropriations for the office of the executive secretary. Bernardo also claimed that former Presidential Legislative Liaison Office Chief Adrian Bersamin received kickbacks alongside Olivar.
Sabi niya, naghatid ako ng pera as kickback, but not to the president, but to Yusek Olivar. And sabi niya, ang pagkaalam niya, kasama si Yusek Adrian Bersamin. 8 billion pesos, Mr. President, in at least 10 deliveries. Ang arrangement nila is, may tigisa silang armored van. May armored van si Yusek Olivar, may armored van siya, magpapark sa basement ng Diamond Hotel, darating yung van driven by Olivar, and possibly, sabi niya, hindi siya sigurado, and possibly along with Adrian Bersamin. Bakante yung armored van, ipapark, idadrab yung isang van na puno ng pera.
The biggest single delivery, Bernardo said, happened on March 11, 2 billion pesos for Olivar. Bernardo also claimed he personally delivered 1 billion pesos to former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Lacson said he advised Bernardo to write directly to President Marcos. That letter was received in Malacanang earlier this week, followed almost immediately by the resignation of multiple cabinet officials. According to Ombudsman Boying Remulla, the latest revelations did not surprise him.
I had my suspicions already before about the activities of Undersecretary Adrian Bersamin. He was already in my radar for a long time, and it's Traiguib that I just got to learn about later on, Traiguib Olivar, and of course about the involvement of Bina Pangandaman. And I'm not surprised because there may be temptations on the side for that.
Remulla said Undersecretary Bersamin could face charges of conspiracy to commit plunder.
Malacanang says President Bongbong Marcos will not resign amid calls from several groups, that's including the pro-Duterte supporters. Here's the report.
President Bongbong Marcos pressed on with his duties despite allegations from his sister, Senator Amy Marcos, accusing him of illegal drug use. Yesterday, the president visited Kararayan Naga Elementary School to personally deliver assistance to residents affected by the devastation of Super Typhoon Uwan. He also led a situation briefing with cabinet members as well as national and local officials to assess the typhoon's impact in Albay and ensure continuous relief and rehabilitation efforts. The palace affirmed that President Marcos is fully focused on his work and will not be swayed by groups calling for his removal from office. According to Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro, calls for the president to resign are coming from Duterte supporters, who she said want the vice president to assume the presidency.
So kailangan pa po bang i-memorize ito? Lahat naman yata ng supporter ng Vice Presidente ang nais ay paalisin sa pwesto ang Pangulo. Bakit? Para pumalit ang Vice Presidente? So, option ba ito? The President is still working and keeps on working for the country. So, hindi po option sa administrasyon, sa Pangulo ang pagbibitiw. Ang Pangulo ay matapang na haharapin kung ano man ang suliranin ng bansa.
The palace also hit back at Senator Amy Marcos' criticisms. Castro reiterated that the issue surrounding the president's drug test was resolved long ago, with negative results already made public.
Hindi po tayo magpapadala kung ano ang sinasabi ng mga maiingay. Matagal na po itong naresolba. Uulit-ulitin ko paulit-ulit. Ang Pangulo po ay malinis at ang Pangulo po ay hindi magpapadala sa anumang pag-uudyok. Pag-uudyok ng mga destabilizers, pag-uudyok ng mga obstructionists na walang gagawin kundi magbigay ng mga kondisyon, magbigay ng pag-uutos sa Pangulo kahit hindi na po ito naaayon sa kanyang pagtatrabaho.
She added that a hair follicle test is unnecessary, stressing that the accusations have no factual basis.
Pagmamahal ba ang paninira sa sariling kapatid? Paninirang walang basihan. Kitang-kita nyo na ang Pangulo ang gusto niyang sirain, pero ang pinoproteksyonan niya ay yung may issue tungkol sa korupsyon na si Vice Presidente. Hindi man lang niya iningayan ang patungkol sa issue ng confidential funds. Kita niyo naman kung saan siya patungo, kaya wala siyang gagawin kundi isang desperadong aksyon. Sirain ang Pangulo para proteksyonan ang kanyang mga kaalyado.
The Quezon City government has barred the United People's Initiative from holding another protest at the EDSA People Power Monument after allegedly violating permit conditions. Joined by pro-Duterte groups, the rally has staged a noise protest calling for accountability in alleged corruption and urging President Marcos to step down. Organizers say the QC-LGU denied them a new permit, prompting their relocation. Now, despite heavy rain, the program continued, with motorcycle groups joining the demonstration. The military described the rally setup as unusually grand and is checking if it was foreign-funded.
The way it was organized, the support system, the food, and the other ancillary equipment or facilities needed. It was unorganized, it was grand. Ika nga, grande ang preparasyon. So we are checking this.
Wala po, lahat ito voluntary. Kanya-kanyang bit-bit ng tubig, kanya-kanyang bit-bit ng skyflakes. Everything here is being born out of spontaneous and voluntarism action of the people. That I can attest.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines is investigating what it calls unusual logistical and financial support behind the United People's Initiative rally at the People Power Monument in Quezon City over the weekend. Acting AFP spokesperson Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad told The Big Story that the event appeared highly organized and well-funded. Organizers, however, have dismissed allegations. Trinidad added that the probe aims to ensure that domestic activities are not linked to broader regional issues in the West Philippine Sea.
The rally conducted at the People Power Monument was well organized and well funded, unlike previous or the usual rallies that we usually see. So we are looking into all of this to see if indeed this was only by local sponsors. We would just like to be very sure that what is happening domestically is not linked to the bigger picture in the West Philippine Sea.
Up next, the Ombudsman has filed the first batch of cases against Zaldico and DPWH officials over anomalous flood control projects. We have Integrated Bar of the Philippines President Attorney Alan Panolong joining us with Morning Matters. When we return, keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here in One News. The Ombudsman has filed the first batch of cases against Zaldico and several DPWH officials over an allegedly bogus flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. Charges, including malversation, falsification, and anti-graft violations, have been filed before the Sandigan Bayan against Co, regional DPWH engineers, and board members of the SunWest Corporation. The case stems from an ICI report on irregularities in a dike project, where an inspection found substandard steel sheet piles far below required standards. Prosecutors have recommended no bail for malversation. In an interview on Storycon, Ombudsman Boying Remulla said he expects the case to move quickly.
We will get an arrest warrant very soon. Malversation, and I don't know if plunder was included. Kasi ano yan eh, we're trying to avoid plunder as much as we can because of the jurisprudence that makes everything difficult to convict plunder, convict somebody for plunder. That's why we're trying to stick to malversation.
Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste has called on the Independent Commission for Infrastructure to investigate Construction Workers Solidarity Party List Representative Edwin Guardiola. Leviste alleges that Guardiola buys projects from the DPWH and sells them to contractors, earning up to 25% in commissions. He added that Guardiola already exerts influence over projects in the National Expenditure Program, or the NEP. Leviste also recommended investigating a company owned by the family of San Jose Vice Mayor Ben Patron, which reportedly manages over 1 billion pesos in annual projects. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon and ICI Executive Director Brian Hosaka said that all projects are being reviewed. And joining us now on the show to talk more about the latest, we have Attorney Alan Panolong, President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Good morning. Welcome back to the program.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Gretchen. It's good to be back in on the show.
Okay, Attorney, help us understand the first cases filed in court by the Office of the Ombudsman. Ito pong mga involved dito sa Oriental Mindoro na flood control project. Ano pong mga kaso ang na-file?
Yes, based on my readings, no, as we read in the publications, the cases filed are malversation of public funds and falsification, and also violation of Republic Act 1319, Section 3E, if I'm not mistaken. So these three crimes are closely interrelated with one another.
Oh, help us understand though, yung sabi ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla that we're trying to avoid plunder because medyo mahirap yan. I mean, what does that mean?
Unang-una, yung plunder kasi there must really be a proof that the public officer concerned was able to receive and enjoy the money, no, the public funds to the tune of 50 million pesos or more. So given the factual circumstances, I think if you notice, there were allegations only on the alleged receipt of the kickbacks. But if you go over with malversation, it's quite easier to prove because the only thing that the prosecutor will have to establish that number one, there is this public officer, and this public officer is under the law. He or she is in custody of the public funds, and the public funds was was misused, misappropriated, or he or she appropriates it for himself, or he allowed, or through negligence he allowed another person to do so. So mas madali po siyang i-prove. Yung elements of the crimes are easier to prove than the plunder case.
But also, if it's easier to prove, does that mean lower? I mean, lower threshold for penalties and punishment?
No. Yes, the malversation, of course, no, kasi ang malversation, falsification, it would depend on the amount of money being misappropriated or being appropriated. So as the money goes higher, the penalty becomes heavier also. Unlike in the plunder na talagang automatic yun eh. The penalty is, if my memory serves me right, reclusion perpetua to death. So,
Yes.
having said that, the elements of malversation and falsification, as well as the violation of the anti-graft law, the elements thereof are much easier to prove than that of the plunder. Kasi yung plunder nga po, dapat meron po talagang proof that the accused was in receipt of the 50 million pesos public funds that being which is the subject of the plunder
Dito
case.
wala pong minimum dito sa
Wala
malversation.
Oo. Basta ang sinasabi nandito is yung public officer in charge siya, in custody ng public funds na yun, then nagamit or nagamit yung pera na yun sa hindi dapat paggamitan, and that or the public officer allowed somebody to use it by negligence. So ganun po yun.
Ano pong pagkakaiba ng malversation of public funds sa malversation of public funds through falsification of public documents? Pareho po ba yun o iba pong kaso yun?
Yung normally kasi when you malverse, naturally there is also a falsification, So actually these are two crimes, malversation and then falsification. When you say falsification, the offender tries to make it appear that something is regular on its form, but meron po siyang alteration na ginawa. Meron po siyang ginawang mga alterations doon, So to make it legitimate or genuine. Now, the malversation was committed by falsification, meaning to say, binago yung mga entries doon sa dokumento. So that is why it becomes malversation by falsification. Kasi nga,
Ngayon, ibig sabihin, kailangan may pagbabago po ng mga dokumento. Ibig sabihin po ba, ang makakasuhan lang dito ay ng malversation, yung mga directly involved in the transaction, such as, for example, the DPWH officials, mga contractor na hindi naging honest. Pero paano naman po ang mga lawmakers involved here? Kasama dito si Zaldico. He's been involved here. Could he possibly be charged with malversation?
He could be, depending on the circumstances, because yun na nga, i-establish dyan kasi kung sino yung may custody, kung sino yung mayroong custody ng public funds, and when that person or that public officer allowed it to be used, not in accordance with its purpose. So yun po yun. So normally kasi the malversation is being committed by falsifying the documents. So any public officer wherein that document passes through these public officers and they affix the signatures, in order to perpetrate in order to perpetuate the crime or in order to commit a crime. So directly involved, meaning to say they are direct participants of the crime, and therefore they are also criminally liable.
But he did that through the halls of Congress, yung pagpapasa ng budget. Could he be held liable for insertions done to the budget, or is it more about
If
him admitting that he administered the flow of money?
Yes, tingin ko po if the insertion was really done surreptitiously such that kasi 'di ba
Okay.
during the budget preparations we all know that the House of Representatives and the Senate sometimes don't have the same version of the budget. So they come into bicameral conference. Doon po nagkakaroon ng insertion eh. So ngayon when for instance kung si Saldico halimbawa he did on his own or upon his instruction did a surreptitiously inserted some portions of which the House and the Senate have no concurrence over this insertion, then he may be held liable for falsification because in the first place kapag surreptitiously done yan, walang consent yung Congress. So it is illegal.
Ang COA po ba, wala pong pananagutan dito? I mean, wala po siya sa listahan ng mga fa-filean po ng kaso kasi.
Ang COA kasi will come into play once the project has already been completed because the concerned agency will report to the COA that, the appropriated money for this flood control project has been completed. Now, we are submitting our papers as proof of completion. So ano yung isasubmit nila? The pictures, the project itself. So if the COA negligently accepted the report without conducting verification on the project, na say for instance it was a ghost project, then they are criminally liable, administratively and criminally liable. So administratively for being negligent, they did not perform their job, and criminally liable, baka meron silang baka nakinabang sila doon. Kaya 'di ba?
So in the case of Oriental Mindoro, did you look into that? Because these are charges referred by the ICI, which you're partnered with, the IBP.
Yes.
Did you look into the COA's role when it comes to this one, the case of Oriental Mindoro?
Personally, I haven't. I was not privy to the preparation of that cases na being filed itong sa Oriental Mindoro, because the participation of the IBP would depend on the instruction of the ICI. So in these particular cases, we have no participation. But I understand, yes, I understand, Ms. Gretchen, that the COA, if obviously if it's a ghost project, talagang yung resident COA auditor mananagot dyan. Kasi ba't lumusot yan eh?
Wala po kasi sila sa listahan nakalagay lang dito DPWH Region 4B, pati na rin yung Sun West at si Zaldico as private respondents to that case. Okay, going now to Sun West, what's the culpability of the board members? Wouldn't they be able to deny having first-hand knowledge of operational matters?
Yun, kasi they are a corporate entity. So yung as a normally under our laws, so if it's a corporate entity, meron po tayong tinatawag diyan na yung separate and distinct personality ng members ng board doon sa corporation. However, if there is proof that the members of the board of SunWest are knowingly participating in the commission of the crime, meaning to say sila mismo, since they are owners of the SunWest Corporation, so sila mismo ay directly na nakikipag-transact, then they are criminally liable for that.
The whole board? Posible po yun?
Posible po because when you own a corporation, it is too impossible that you don't know the activities of your corporation or your company, correct? So having said
Yeah.
that, especially so if it involves millions of contracts
Yes.
and you're dealing with government, so it is highly improbable that they are not. But it is Miss Gretchen. It is a matter of uh, showing in the allegation of the complaint the extent of participation of the members of the board. So kailangan kasi may pakita ano yung participation. Halimbawa, yung members ng board, they are the ones who signed the contract. Then they are the ones who also signed the say a report stating therein that these projects were already completed and based on the contract. Lagot sila talaga doon. Mananagot sila.
Do you think there's enough proof to link Zaldico to the SunWest board? He does claim na he's divested a long time ago. Ano kaya yung pwedeng mag-link po sa kanya dun sa SunWest? Kasi related po ito dun sa ibang kaso ng Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Yeah, 3019E. Oo. So, it may be if the former congressman is benefiting from the company, so he cannot really claim that he has divested completely from the company.
But you need to
So,
establish
ganun yan.
that, right?
Yes.
At
Of
paano?
course.
Paano
It
po
has to be.
kaya? Oo.
Kasi 'di ba the SunWest is a family-owned corporation.
Yes.
So the burden of proof is on his part to prove that he is in no way participating in the dealings of the corporation or he in no way receiving any benefit from the corporation. So he has to prove that. However, yung prosecution also, yung on the part of the prosecution, kailangan din nilang mag-state ng facts linking Saldico to SunWest that despite the divestment of his financial interest over that company, he still enjoys beneficial
Relationship.
interest. Yes, such that probably he enjoys the resources of the hindi nga siya nag-divest nga siya, but he is using the company vehicle. He is using the airplanes. Di ba? Kasi may mga
Kasi
kwan
yun po
yan,
yung
So,
sinasabi rin po niya na yung air assets ay hindi kanya. Sa Mississippi Aviation yun.
yeah, but if he is enjoying it freely, so how could you ever enjoy freely a particular asset kung wala kang interest doon, di ba?
Yes.
Who would ever
Okay.
allow you to use it for free?
All
So,
right.
yun po yun.
Zooming out from this case in Oriental Mindoro, this is the first batch of cases to be filed by the Office of the Ombudsman. It's curious to me why Mindoro was chosen as the forefront of this move, this action by government, when majority of the testimonies in Congress were about the Bulacan
Bulacan.
First District projects. Bakit po kaya hindi nauna yon? At ito pong inuna?
Maybe it depends on the case built up. Because why it may be true that the Bulacan is much controversial compared to that of the Mindoro, no? But maybe the documents available, other documents insofar as the Mindoro cases are concerned are already available. So kaya siguro inuna yun. So it would depend actually, Ms. Gretchen, on the availability of the evidence. So no matter how controversial the issue is, but if the evidence is one thing, hindi po tayo makakapile ng corresponding courses of action pag incomplete.
Okay, speaking of evidence, Zaldico's statement via social media and video, could this be admissible in court?
For one, in filing criminal cases, no? Kasi we are talking about criminal cases here. If the statements of Saldico will not be formalized such that it will not be reduced into an affidavit, well, he will undertake an oath before the office of the prosecution, no? or before the prosecutors of the ombudsman. So wala po siyang evidentiary weight. It is just a statements, kumbaga parang leading statements lang to. These are just statements that are giving what's this, parang nagbibigay lang siya ng leads doon sa ating mga investigators, but the statement itself cannot really be admitted in evidence because the rules of evidence is very strict on this particular matter. Number one, pag halimbawa tulad nitong video, no? So marami kasi siyang mga allegations na mabibigat na binitawan doon. Those such that he needs to take an oath so that the other parties also will afford the opportunity to refute or to rebut the allegations. Oo.
And does that oath have to be taken in Philippine soil?
In our system of in our criminal law system, especially I'm referring to the rules of court at saka yung administrative order issued by the Department of Justice. Kapag maghahabla po na tayo ng kaso, kinakailangan po yan panumpaan before the office of the prosecutor. So kung sa probinsya, office of the provincial prosecutor, or if in the city, office of the city prosecutor.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, even the witnesses, say for instance, Saldico is not even the complainant himself. Gagawin siyang testigo. Kailangan nandun din siya, manunumpa din siya. So yun po yung proseso natin yun. So
Hindi pwedeng representative lamang.
yes,
Oo.
hindi po pwede. Oo. Kasi ang intention po doon, Miss Gretchen, is that if the person taking an oath commits false statements,
Oo.
so that person may be held liable for perjury.
Paano po kaya kung wari, tinuloy po niya yung Zoom with the Senate sa Blue Ribbon Committee? Pwede po yun. Will that hold weight?
Well, that depends on the rules of the Senate. Kasi
Okay.
ganun ang sistema kasi natin, Miss Gretchen, is like for instance, if you talk about filing cases, it depends on the rules of court. So ngayon, we are talking about the Senate conducting its hearing in aid of legislation. It would depend on their rules. So if the rule says they will allow resource person to be interviewed or to be interviewed through virtual means like Zoom or any other means of virtual communications, then it would be possible. But then again, we come to that very important question: what is then the weight or the sufficiency or the evidentiary weight nung sasabihin niya? Just the same. Kasi kung magpa-file ka ng kaso, gagamitin mo yon. Paano mo ngayon magagamitin? Kuan nga yun it was done through virtual hearing. Kailangan panumpaan pa rin niya yun
Pero, di ba
Because-
usually nag-administer naman po ng oath sa Senado bago ka mag-testify. So if he took the oath virtually and he would have been required, pwede po yun.
Pwede naman yun. Kaya
So
for purposes
that
of-
kind of explains the last minute decision of the Blue Ribbon Committee chairman to disinvite Zaldico, to prod him to come back and do his statement before in person.
Pwede,
Okay.
pwede naman yun. But then again, another purpose for which the resource persons are being asked to take an oath is that for purposes of filing cases. Now, if you file case, paano natin magagamit yun ngayon? Kasi baka Saldico may not appear. So, ganun. Same story.
Same as with the Discayas, but there is a danger that they might change their affidavit when it comes to the official documents submitted to the Ombudsman, to the DOJ, dun sa kanilang testimony sa Senado. So paano po yun? Paano isa-settle yun kung magkaiba?
Yun. So, we especially so if the affidavits are conflicting, contains the two affidavits contain conflicting statements, so it will destroy the credibility of the Discayas.
Ah.
Oh yes, because
So
you
it
cannot
could be
execute.
held against them by the
Yeah. Yes,
prosecution.
yes, definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Because if they say something in the first affidavit and in the second affidavit, it's tantamount to recanting
Okay.
the statement. So magkakaroon ngayon ng kuan. So it will now be subjected to a test of credibility where only the court can resolve that matter.
Okay, I want to go to what was revealed yesterday, the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. Ito nga pong lumabas na mga pangalan, sabi rin po ni Ombudsman Remulla, si Trigev Olayvar, Adrian Bersamin, pati si Secretary Mina Pangandaman. Dito po na pong tinitignan ng IBP at saka ng ICI na maaaring role nila.
The roles that maybe look into is the manner of kasi din yung the manner of the insertions, no, because that's what I read over the news, no, yung the manner for which the projects were or the items were inserted in the budget, but then again, these are not complete, there's no complete facts yet, so we cannot really state with categorically kung ano yung kung ano. Kasi ang kumbaga the transactions are very personal to them, so we are not private to it.
How about the legal weight of Congressman Levice's allegations that a sitting party list representative, specifically Congressman Edwin Guardiola, is buying and selling DPWH projects?
Oh well, if that statement of Congressman Leviste is verified and proven to be correct, that's a serious offense, because as a matter of law and as a matter of practice, a lawmaker should not be involved into that kind of transaction. So actually, when I came across that information only yesterday, so it's a very serious offense. It's a very serious offense because it would involve violations of several laws. It could even be a violation of the anti-graft law, among other related laws. Because as a congressman, wala po silang business to be interfering or to be engaged in the implementation of that. Lalo na proprietary, may mga involved na accordingly, may mga percentages, no? Binibili yung project for 20%. And then,
Pero ano ho ang palagay ninyo sa most guilty here? Senator Jinggoy Estrada has been quoted as saying, sino bang mastermind ng mga ghost project? Hindi ba yung di ba yung mga engineers dyan sa DPWH, hindi naman mga senador, hindi naman mga congressman. Kung for example, ang nagluto ng proyekto ay DPWH engineer or district office, could they be identified as the mastermind tapos binigyan na lamang ng cut itong people in power? Is it possible to see it that way? Or dahil mas mataas ang posisyon nitong lawmakers natin, ay they would be on the same plane?
well, unang-una, kaya nga po na-approve yung budget for that is because of the intervention of the lawmaker. So they are all principally liable for that, meaning to say all of them will be treated as principal by direct participation. Pare-pareho po sila ng participation because for one, the act of one is necessary to carry out the purpose of the crime. So ibig sabihin, yung extent, yung degree of participation, halos pare-pareho. Like halimbawa, yung lawmaker, he purposely identified that project. Then he, again, and through the participation of the officers from the DPWH in order to carry out that purpose, sila yung nag-execute. So pare-pareho sila ng degree of participation. We call it law as principal by direct participation because for one, they have the same intent and purpose, no? So they have one singular mind, that is to defraud the government. So hindi po masabi nung lawmaker na no, sila yung supposedly they are the implementing agency, so they are the ones responsible. But the thing is, nakinabang siya. Oo. And the lawmaker was the one who identified the project. It would not be it would not have also be included, no, in the items for in the items of the GAA, if not for that of the intervention of the lawmaker. Alam naman po natin yung budgeting system eh. The lawmaker usually identifies the project in his district. In the case of the congressman and the case of the senators, kung sino yung beneficiary ng proyekto under his so-called parang PDAF, ganon.
Well, they can sign and look away. Medyo marami kasing layers ito na pwedeng idaan sa mga intermediaries, and pero basta pumirma, basta dumaan sa opisina nila, they cannot
Lahat po
escape
sila.
accountability. Oo. As a
Yes.
final question, how is the working relationship of the ICI and the IBP? Ano po mga pinapasa sa IBP ng ICI at paano po nagtutulungan ang dalawang ahensya?
Oh, I think last month we went to ICI. We went to the executive director Hosaka because we informed him about the readiness of our lawyers, and then we yung guidelines muna namin, no, yung so far as the collaboration is concerned, we inayos muna namin because there was this request that the lawyers coming from the IBP will participate in the investigation of cases brought before the ICI should not be in any way related to the congressman or officers na involved. So gumawa po tayo ng paraan na kung saan meron po tayong pina-execute, no, ipapa-execute na documents for our lawyers that they are not in any way related to any congressman, either by blood relationship, consanguinity, or kliyente ba nila or kan, because we understand also that it may affect the
Yes.
judgment
So
of the
nandun
lawyer.
pa lang
Yes.
po tayo. Oo.
Yes, nandun pa lang tayo.
Determining,
Then,
oo.
but we already have identified also yung mga areas where we will come in. Kasi what we thought of in so far as the IBP is concerned is that we'll do our own case build-up, then pagbigay sa kanila. Kasi kung pag-uusapan pa namin, matagal eh. So
Okay.
it will take time. So we will endorse to them cases that we already investigated.
So ano
and
po mga kaso yung nakikita niyo
case file.
pwede kayo pumasok? Ano po mga kaso?
Same thing. Yung more on verification, validation of...
Okay,
in fact, we
okay.
already received reports coming from our chapters
Okay.
as far as Visayas. Oo, meron po kaming... oo.
Okay. Maraming salamat, no, for helping us understand the legal side of this investigation and how it will come down to our courts. We have Attorney Alan Panolong, President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, which is a partner of the ICI. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Ms. Gretchen, and maraming salamat po sa ating mga kababayan.
And coming right up, tension is evident within the Marcos family after Senator Amy Marcos aired allegations against her brother, President Bongbong Marcos. Stay tuned for our discussion with political strategist Lito Banayo. When we return, keep it here on One News. morning, I'm Gretchen On here at Morning Matters. We talk about the most pressing issues and give it the context behind the headlines. As we mentioned earlier, President Bongbong Marcos will not step down amid calls for his resignation over the flood control scandal. Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro affirmed that the president remains fully focused on his work and will not be swayed by groups pushing for his removal. She added that the calls for the president to resign are coming from Duterte supporters who, she said, want the vice president to assume the presidency. Meanwhile, the palace stressed that the president will not comply with Senator Amy Marcos's challenge to undergo a hair follicle test, insisting that allegations of illegal drug use have no factual basis. And to provide insights into these recent developments, we are joined by political strategist Lito Banayo. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. Of course, we had Ronald already here. We had Malu. We had Richard. Sabi ko, hindi namin pwede palagpasin itong moment in history without hearing you and your thoughts on the latest.
Well, thank you for having me, Gretchen. And good hello to all your viewers.
Did it shock you that Senator Amy Marcos revealed?
I was shocked. In fact, I was on the road when she was delivering her speech. A friend of mine, who's a member of the Iglesia, called me up and said, Sir, alam mo ba, nagsasalita si Ivy ngayon sa tablado. Bakit ka ako? Tinitira si BBM. So, I didn't, but I was already near the house, so I watched it. And then I got the snippets of it. So I texted her and I said, wow, I'm shocked. That was what I said. And she didn't answer until about siguro mga 1 hour after, more or less. Siguro yung umalis na siya dun sa Iglesia ni Cristo rally. And she said, I just had to get it off my chest. So that was her answer. From that point, I didn't talk to her.
So
kasi
this was, she didn't consult this with you?
No. Ang engagement ko kasi sa kanya was the campaign, no? Professional, no? So, nung tapos na yung campaign, we remain friends, no? We got to know each other very well during the campaign. So, yun. Sometimes she does text, we text each other every now and then. But I didn't even know that she was going to the Iglesia rally. I had no idea.
What was the tipping point, you think?
Well, I knew for a fact that even her staff during the campaign, I mean, I'm talking of the old staff, the ones that she brought from Ilocos Norte, yung mga panahon pa raw ni Presidente Ferdinand Marcos Sr., nasa kanila na. They were all saying na what she said, more or less, no? There was something, that the president was using drugs. No? But on a professional basis, I didn't want to talk with Senator Amy about those things because very personal nga,
yes.
And it has no bearing with the campaign as far as I was concerned. In fact, as early as the inauguration or the proclamation rally of the Alianza, of which she was a part before, she didn't want to go there to Lawag. I was the one who insisted, together with some of the staff, na you have to be there. Kasi Ilocana ka, hometown mo, governor ang anak mo at that time, di ba? You have to be there. And she really, up to the last minute, ayaw niya. Sabi niya, magiging ipokrito ako dito, gano'n. So I sensed that there was really something, among the family members na talagang medyo malalim, no? So, ayan, she said she had to get it off her chest.
Was it because she was being left out? I mean, in the halls of power, sabi kasi hindi niya kasundo sa First Lady.
According to her and her staff, her close-in staff, she's never been to Malacanang since the president took office, no? Except for some signing ceremonies. Yung mga bills na in-author niya, siguro sinign into law. Other than that, hindi pumupunta.
But then, if that's the reason, doesn't it look like a matter of more of a personal interest sa kanya yun rather than scolding the younger brother about his drug use.
No, she, according to her before, no, nung pag nagkakausap-usap kami, na she was, when they were exiled, I think she went to Singapore, then Morocco, and I think nagkahiwa-hiwalay sila after. She didn't go to Hawaii, I think. She didn't stay in Hawaii long enough. And when her father died, she was parang the tatay-nanay, for Bongbong. No? And she told me even then that she advised Bongbong Marcos to get married na, no? Para magka-direction daw yung buhay. I don't know, I mean, ayoko na may tanong bakit wala bang direction ng buhay ng kapatid mo. Kasi nga masyadong personal. Those are the snippets that I was able to get from her, no?
So you're verifying
So there's something personal, there's
matagal-tagal
something
niya ng
personal.
bit-bit.
Matagal niya ng bit-bit, no?
Pero why did she have to do it in this manner?
That
A
I
big
haven't-
protest?
Yeah, that I haven't asked her yet, no. I haven't talked to her, no. Those are things that I don't
If she
want
had
to
asked
discuss
you, what
over
would
the
you
phone.
have advised her?
I wouldn't know, frankly. Mahirap eh.
Because may
Ang
mga
hirap.
nagsasabi pagdating sa ating kultura, you don't do that to family, right?
Yun yung sinabi ni Ping Lacson, yun yung sinabi ng napakaraming tao, ating kultura. But ako naman, I don't look at Philippine culture as the best culture in the world. I mean, hindi ba? I mean, I was in Taiwan for almost 6 years. The Minister of Economic Affairs, which is the biggest ministry in Taiwan, kasi pati government corporations under dun, nagkaroon ng brownout sa Taiwan for 10 minutes. 10-minute blackout in Taipei. He resigned the following day and the president accepted his resignation. No? Nagkaroon ng aksidente yung Japan Railway dun sa may Hualien. The president of the corporation resigned. Iba yung kultura nila, na sana yun din ang kultura natin. No? Parang
Wala na po maiiwan
if you're
sa
a government
Senado tsaka sa
official,
Kongreso.
ayun na nga lang. If you're a government official, if you're a public servant, that should be over and above everything else, which is the culture of the Japanese,
also,
other countries.
I think
no?
it begs the question, what's the relevance of his drug use to the flood control probe? Kasi medyo, iba po yun eh. Iba po
Okay,
yung
what
issue yun
what is coming out in the several, investigations, ICI, DOJ, ano pangalan nito, Ping Lacson's Blue Ribbon, and that discredited and now stopped House of Representatives, di ba? Meron din sila dati. Tinigil na nila.
Infracom.
Nahiya siguro sila sarili nila. The point is, it's always a he said, she said thing at this point in time. Would you believe everything that Yusek Robert Bernardo said? Would you believe everything that Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez, whoever else
Zaldico
says at this point? Yeah, even Saldico. Kasi, syempre they're out to protect themselves. No? It's everyone has a selfish agenda, self-interest agenda here. No? Even the senators, even the congressmen. Di ba? Kasi, kung meron ka skeleton at the back of your closet, you want to prevent that coming out. In the case of Yusek Robert Bernardo, although, well, I know him not closely, he has applied to be a state witness. So if you apply to be a state witness, you should be the least guilty, right? So,
or at least not the most guilty.
Most guilty. Tatanggapin mo ba lahat na sasabihin niya? I'm not impugning his credibility. No, I really do not know. The same way that si Saldico, tatanggapin mo ba lahat ng sinasabi ni Saldico? Kasi kung ako nag-a-advise, may lulusot ko yung sinasabi niya na hindi siya kumita dun sa alleged 100 billion insertion. Because pwede niya sabihin later, kumita ako dun sa iba, pero dito sa 100 billion, sinabihan ako, pwera ka dito ha, tiwa ito.
Categorical.
Tiwa ito. No, anybody with a good lawyer or a good advisor can always come up with his truth rather than the truth. Di ba? So, hintayin natin how this unveils. So, kaya, in the case of Saldico, umuwi siya dito. No? Now, I can understand his trepidation, natatakot siya sa buhay niya kasi kalaban niya, gobyerno. I can understand that. If I were in his place, I would not trust the DOJ, I would not trust the PNP, I would not trust government at all. So, what am I suggesting? Kung nasa Europe siya, pumunta siya kay Cardinal Chito Tagle. No? And tell the Catholic Church, kung Katoliko siya, I really do not know. Kung Katoliko siya na pwede ba
Nagseminarista to si Zaldi.
Ganun ba?
Oo.
Siguro Katoliko siya. No? Proteksyonan siya ng simbahan. And then let him tell the truth,
Yeah,
whatever is his truth, when he's here. He's protected by the church. No one dares attack the Catholic Church. Not one policeman, not one military man. Nangyari sa EDSA 1, di ba ganon? Tumigil yung mga Marines, no, because the nuns and the priests stopped them on their tracks. I mean, but he has to come here and he has to substantiate kung ano yung mga pinagsasasabi niya. No? Because, dikit natin yung kay Aimee. I read the whole speech afterwards. I listened to it and then I asked the staff to send me a copy of her speech because I saw that she was reading it. So I have I saw the text, the Viber message, speech. Malinaw doon, parang ang pinupunto niya is he is unable to govern. I mean, the president, her brother, is unable to govern effectively because of drug abuse. No? Whether true or not, that's her truth. That's her truth. The point is, meron bang maniniwala na itong mga USEC, itong mga USEC lang sa DepEd, etc., maglalakas ng loob to handle billions of pesos misrepresenting the president? I mean, napakalakas naman ang loob ng mga to, di ba? So, the point is, it's either may tacit statement o approval o ginagawa nila sa presidente or sa executive secretary man lang, or kung naman sabi ni Ping Lacson, my friend Ping Lacson, sabi kahapon, they took advantage of our president because he is very kind-hearted. Well, God, that's ineptitude. Ibig sabihin, kayang-kaya kang paikutan ng mga USEC? I mean, come on.
Although
Ibig sabihin, mabait ka nga.
Nag-name drop.
Oo nga, pero 3 taon na yan. Yung foreign assisted projects natin, 2024 pa, bin-lock out na ni Saldico at ni Martin Romualdez. Di ba? 2025 budget, wala na naman yung foreign assisted projects. I'm sure the Japanese, the Koreans, and all those, ADB and all those, have already told his finance minister, finance secretary, his NEDA secretary na, what's happening? No? Why didn't they act? No? And they allowed all of these flood control projects, all of these substandard, all of these minuscule projects, no? Instead of the big ticket items
By
in our
command
budget.
responsibility,
Meron,
the president does have
Yeah.
accountability here. But what would it take for the Marcos administration to turn all of this around? I mean, it's affected our economy.
Frankly, I can't answer that.
You've seen through
forthrightly.
many administrations.
I've seen ERAP.
This comparing to what
Yeah.
happened in the past.
Yung kay ERAP, nung lumabas yung kay Chavit, there was Ronnie Zamora, the executive secretary, and myself, and the former, he's already dead, Congressman Raul Dasa, went to President ERAP July pa, telling him that Chavit has been telling people all around na yung sa huweteng-huweteng, no? But he didn't, kuminsan, feeling niya, wala namang everything has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. And I remember saying, Mr. President, ang impeachment to, pag dumating yan, hindi reasonable doubt, that is a political trial. But, hubris siguro, masyadong kampante because he had a very high popularity rating at that time compared to GMA.
Yes.
GMA is as Vice President. But then, things unravel, you make mistakes along the way, like the second envelope, and wham, no? Yung kay Chavit, in fact, hindi pera na tao yun eh. Pera na sugarol yun eh. Diba?
Pero
That's
dito,
not public
nakikita
funds,
niyo ba
that's not in the budget. No?
credible yung possibility ng withdrawal of support? Medyo malabo.
Yes or no? Nobody expected Orly Mercado or Angie Reyes at that time nung kay ERAP, di ba? Pinromote si Angie Reyes na chief of staff no, of the AFP. No? So, kung personal loyalties, nando doon. But there was pressure from retired generals at that time, particularly those close to the late President Fidel Ramos. And they gave in. No? I know some of them. No? So,
Dito po, is it possible that Senator Amy could have been trying to appeal to the generals?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to judge her on that. No? Hindi naman din, wala rin naman ako nakita nung kampanya na malapit siya sa miskin na sinong general. No? Wala naman tumutulong sa kanya general nung panahon na yon. No? So I really don't know. But the point is, we're into, 2 days before the iglesia, before the iglesia started, that was Sunday, di ba? Sunday nag-start yung iglesia. Saturday pala, she texted me. And she said, ang gulo-gulo na nang nangyayari. No? Ano kaya mangyayari bukas sa iglesia, sa yung INC rally? And I said, well, this is what, I mean, this is not the exact quote, no? But ang sinabi ko no, if your brother, you're adding, ang sinabi ko, if you're adding reaches 2028, whoever he endorses in 2028 will lose. It's a kiss of death, no matter what happens. But, I said, the economy will be on a tailspin. No? And you know why. I mean, obvious naman no? The stock market, lahat no? The economy will be on a tailspin. And I don't think there's anything we can do to bring it up between now and 28. That was what I texted. Whether that influenced her to say, I don't know.
Something. Okay, maraming salamat. As always, valuable insights coming from somebody who has been through many administrations.
Yeah, from Cory Aquino. Yeah.
Maraming salamat for putting this in perspective and for your time today. We have political strategist Lito Banayo weighing in right here on Morning Matters. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the bright start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Hall. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.